This video is a walkthrough of the container that will show you your classroom-based assessment data in Homeroom Classroom. The example I'm going to show you is from an elementary Bridges math assessment, but all of the classroom-based assessment containers will be formatted in a similar way. After you enter the data into Homeroom Classroom, it takes 24 hours for it to appear on your Homeroom dashboard. And if you're putting it in near the beginning of the test window, we may not have turned the container on yet, but it will be coming up shortly. So right now, this one from the Bridges Unit 1 Math Assessment is available, and this teacher has already entered their data in at least yesterday or prior to that. When you come into your Homeroom dashboard, you are going to click on this gear icon in the top right, and then look for the container that you want. For this example, we're looking at the Bridges Math Unit Assessments for first grade. So I'm going to go ahead and click it there, and it will take me immediately to that, so I don't have to scroll and try to find it. When you are there, you can double check that the header is the correct container you're looking for, and then you can also, one thing that's always good practice to do is make sure that the student group that's showing at the top of the page is all of your students. So that's correct. Sometimes it gets switched, and if that's the case, you can click here and go through the choices here to change it. But just double check that. And then in the container, the first tab you'll always see is the class summary. So it will be a breakdown of the different performance levels and how many students in your class scored at each of those. As the year goes on, there will be multiple bars across this chart, so you can see the different unit assessments side by side and how your class is progressing throughout the year. The next tab that you'll see is a standards-based breakdown of the assessment. The headers are a little bit funky with the way the standards are labeled, and I apologize for that. They're working on getting that fixed. There's a little glitch in there. But you'll see that for each question, which standard it went with, and then if there's a standard that had multiple questions attached, they will average how the student did on that standard to show their score for that standard overall. So you can use this container to do item level analysis and say are there questions that most of my students missed or most of my students got correct, or look at standard level and say, wow, a lot of my students have this first standard, but more of my students are struggling with this third standard here, you can see. The next two tabs will show the demographic breakdown of your class summary. So you can look and see how did students who are learning English do for students in special education or students on free and reduced lunch. So you can think more targeted about those populations, those groups. And then the second one is breaking it down your class by race and how did they do on the assessment based on their race. Then the final one will just show an overall list of student scores, a summary for each student, how they did on the test in all. Now, you can see student names here, but I want to just make sure that this is clear that these are fake names. This is a fake teacher. This is a demonstration mode. So this is exactly what it looks like. This is a real class's data, but it's actually just scrambling everything so that I can demonstrate that for you. So that's what your containers will look like for any of your classroom-based assessments that we're building out in Homeroom Classroom and entering the data for. You'll be able to find those here. And again, on these other tabs, as the year goes on, we will add columns so you can see side by side how things are going for students.